Hey everybody, it's Lewis Porter Jr. It's lunchtime at 12:30 time. I decided to go out a little early. Beautiful day, doing this in the office all day long. Driving myself crazy. Everybody's pulling in for lunch. So today we're going to talk about, places where I steal good ideas from. My favorite place to steal good ideas from, as you already know, comic books. A lot of good ideas in comic books. And I think the reason is not even belonging to just comic books themselves. It's that comic books are built on a very unique but very simplistic structure. Comic books come out monthly. Well, let me rephrase that. In theory, comic books are supposed to come out monthly. They don't always come out monthly, but they try. So the coolest thing is that since they come out monthly, comic books have to focus on getting new art. They have to focus on telling quick stories. But we're talking the 32-page comic book only has like 23 pages, 24 pages, something like 25 pages worth of story. And the rest of it is just ads and fillers and whatever. So 23 pages story, boom. Got to be quick, got to be concise, got to tell something, got to move the story along and get people interested. So not a lot of space to do that. And comic books have really focused on that, I think, better than anybody I've seen in the modern IP generation. I mean, let's just be honest. Comic books, the concept, it's a book. You read it every month. Boom, you get you hooked. It's soap operas for men. It's like wrestling. Wrestling is soap opera for men. It's not really that complex, but once you figure that part out, how do you spread it from there? And how does it go viral? And how do you add different genres? Okay, because for example, comic books themselves are stuck in the superhero genre. Guys in tights, master villains, the stereotypical thing you'd expect. They've got it down pat, and they've focused on that for years. They really haven't broken past that genre specific. I mean, they've added some other stuff, like science fiction gets a little bit of a taste of it, but really it's all about, it's all about guys in capes. And the only time I've ever actually really seen, that's not totally true. DC did do their line for Vertigo, and Vertigo was more adult stuff. Ben, you read superhero comics. Don't act like you don't. Come on, we all know you read superhero comics. And I mean, Vertigo was definitely the move away from that, more adult stuff, more stuff that I became interested in. I mean, like 100 Bullets, awesome. Brian, oh good lord, they're comic books. Okay, let's get not all. And first of all, it's also important. They're comic books, not graphic novels. Don't give me that garbage. It's a graphic novel. No, dude, it's a comic book. Please, let's just stop trying to make ourselves sound more important than we really are. We read comic books. They're floppies. We read them. Boom. We toss them away. They used to cost. Well, when I was a kid, they cost 50 cents. No, let me phrase that. When I was a kid, you can get them for 35 cents. Now you got to pay like $4 or $5, and I don't want to get into that discussion. But whatever. So, okay, back to what I was saying. Genre specific, they've gone and done stuff like that. I think DC was probably the first ones of the big companies to really start doing and thinking about, an older crowd. And with that, I mean, Sandman, Hellblazer, those books came out. I can even say you could draw back the history all the way to the Legend of the Dark Knight was first released. First time ever doing something that kind of crazy. Good idea. I liked it. I thought it was a good book. Still think it's a good book. One of Frank Miller's, I wouldn't call it his magnum opus, but it's pretty impressive. As a writer, I mean, the art is the art. That's the style he went with, so whatever. I'm not gonna complain about it. But the story plays very well to the main character. Okay, look. Now Ben McFarlane's calling me out. Okay, Channel Zero, DMZ, Northlanders, yes, they are not comic books. They also are not really the more popular pieces either. Let's not kid anybody. It's Brian Wood, I would say, is a comic book guy. He is. I won't even say that. He's a fiction guy. Warren Ellis is a comic book guy who really is a fiction writer masquerading as a comic book guy. I mean, there's tons of stuff that you can get. Planetary. Let's just talk about Planetary. Planetary is a great book. It's definitely comic books. It's all adult. It's all awesome. But it's still comic books. DMZ, I can't get enough comments from DMZ. I can give more of a comment for Northlanders because I love their covers. Just boom, boom, just love their covers. I think that CrossGen, this is gonna be a nice little timer. I think CrossGen figured out what the real plan should be. Dynamite has a line of superheroes. What are you talking about? Dynamite has a line of superheroes. superheroes. Actually, the one I keep saying Alan Moore. I'm like, no, not Alan Moore. The artist that we all love. That I can't think who I can't think of right now. Who did Heroes? Look, Ellis is fantastic. See, this is such a great conversation because we get to talk about fun stuff and not always business. All right, look, Warren Ellis is amazing, no doubt. He knows how to get you interested in the story. He starts out really awesome, but let's just call the truth. He couldn't finish a story to save his life. I mean, come on. Planetary is a great book until you read the end. But I mean, look, you spend the entire time hyping up the villains and seeing how dangerous and how scary they are, and you drop them down a hole. Yeah, that's the ending, people. He drops them down a hole. And it's like, oh, really? This is what I wasted 26 issues over what? Way much more time than it should have been? Come on. Ellis is an awesome writer. He comes up with awesome ideas. And his execution is pretty good, except to the end. You know, I said it's not that I don't think Planetary wasn't good. I think Planetary was awesome. I think it couldn't have gotten much better. I think that ending was garbage. That was absolute total garbage. Total garbage. Alan Moore, not my favorite guy, but everything I've read from him, very solid writer. Just not my favorite. It's more of a personal issue. Watchmen, I would have liked to see it. It was the Charlton Heroes. I think that would have made it even better. Personally, I mean, Global Frequency was great. Once again, Transmet. Not saying Transmet wasn't awesome, but Transmet was not for me. Not for me. But Global Frequency was very much for me. But once again, those are outliers. Let's call them like they are. They're great stories, but they're absolute outliers. I mean, and that's something else. Here's something else I'm going to say about Warren Ellis. Warren Ellis is great at short books. You give him something long he's got to work on, never gets done, never comes out on time, can't get the consistency right. He's not a long book writer, and maybe that's not what he's supposed to be. But then if you're not supposed to be that, stop doing long books. Do short books. Do short books. Do 6-issue run, a 5-issue run. Focus on that. You don't have to... Everyone... All right, this is what I'll describe it as this. This problem drives me crazy. I'm going to turn around and go back the other way. I don't feel like going in front of people again today. Too many people read comic books and got into comic books, as I call the adult, during the college days of the late 80s, early 90s, when the Sandman and stuff like that. And they kept saying like, oh, I'm into comic books, but I don't read those other books. Oh, they're so very pretentious. Oh, clowns. Just like, come on, dude. Let's talk about, without the funny books, without the superhero books, there wouldn't be. I mean, let's be honest. Without Superman, there is no Vertigo. Let's look at the history. Because no one would give a care about a person doing an actually well-written book with great art, like Sandman, if it hadn't been for people reading comics. Look, Sandman is one of those kind of books that probably would have been lost in the shuffle of publishing if it hadn't been for comic books. And it came at the right time, with the right amount of people, the right environment for it. Let's also put that in there. Because, we're talking, what is it? We're talking 96. 86 to about 94. So they're talking, I'm 16 till I'm 24 at that time period. What comics were doing, it was kind of made for that kind of stuff. Look at the environment. Look what's going on with gaming. White Wolf, Vampire. Oh, let me see all the fun stuff. Well, TV, X-Files. It kind of reached that perfect point of, a lot of stuff that was mainstream was so mainstream people didn't want to see it. They were looking for other stuff. They were looking for other options. And that's how these niches popped up. And they were always there. Don't get me wrong. They were always there. But now they just came out with even more force. So that's what I'm saying with that. And getting back to what my original argument was, Hellboy, okay. See, Ben and I are apparently having a conversation here. Hellboy is definitely, I'd say, not a traditional superhero, but has a lot of superhero tropes in it. It is definitely supernatural. Excuse me. Definitely supernatural. But some of the tropes are definitely throwbacks to superhero stuff, too. Not 100%. My glasses. Yeah. Not 100%, I'd say, fantasy. And let's be honest. Let's talk about this. The sales on fantasy products. Fantasy, which gets a very tough play in comic books. But, it's like, it isn't like a smash hit. Conan is the closest thing to a smash hit. But it is one of those things that, like, I don't get why fantasy doesn't get a bigger push. Why there isn't a bigger interest. I don't know. I think fantasy, fantasy might just be specialized as being something that's done best as a book instead of a comic book. You know, I would think, you know, a comic book fan that I am, you'd want to see more fantasy, that kind of stuff. The closest thing I've seen to fantasy that I really enjoyed was from CrossGen. And this goes back to my whole CrossGen argument. CrossGen was trying to do a lot of different type of genre books as comic books. You know, Victorian stories as comic books, samurai stories as comic books, science fiction. And I think they did the right thing long-term looking. They were looking to build different types of audiences to read their product. And yes, have you ever read Saga? I actually read Saga, not for me. The writer and I, for some reason, are not that guy. I don't get it. I don't get why I think I should love Saga, but it just doesn't click with me. And it's funny because I'm like, I think it's him as a writer. Something with him and his writing, it just doesn't that click. I don't know what it is, but I think that, you know, like I said, CrossGen, doing different genre stuff and building a niche and maybe even building a world around the niches could be a cool idea. I mean, they tried it with their whole line, and they had some pretty awesome stuff. I mean, they did a pretty good job at doing the right thing, but once again, leadership problems, cost of book problems, having everybody in-house basically in Orlando was, you know, a problem. Smart idea, going back to the bullpen, but, you know, they had to sell more books. And I think they could have sold more books. Well, see, Ben's come. I'd say Saga is definitely Star Wars. It's definitely Star Wars, that kind of feel. I think Saga's done very well, but I think he also, once again, he's a very specific type of writer. I can't think of his name now. Jesus. I keep going, Michael Bendis. It's like, it's not Michael Bendis. It's good. So, I think he has a very, Brian K. Vaughan, that's it. Brian K. Vaughan. I think he's a very specific type of writing. I don't think I'm for his stuff. I've read a lot of his stuff. It just didn't appeal to me. I think it's just more of a feeling. You know, hell, Bendis does not appeal to me. Well, let me rephrase that. Certain stuff on Bendis does not appeal to me. But that's just Bendis. That's another issue. Yes, it definitely is a soap opera. Space opera, yes. I don't mind a good space opera. But, I don't know. Like I said, when it comes to me writing science fiction, I want there to be some science behind it. And it's more like I'm getting the feeling people are doing more science fantasy, which isn't bad. And, you know, that's a cool idea, and I back it 110%. I don't like it. Well, it's like the running joke. Do you like Star Wars or Star Trek? Well, I like Star Wars. It's kind of cool. I love Star Trek for the technology behind it. It's, you know, if you're a big tech geek, it's for that. If you're like, science, wavy hand, it's definitely Star Wars. So it's just, you know, what you're feeling. You know, science fiction, science fantasy. As long as it's cool, I'm going to enjoy it. But I think that's something else. And, like, for example, here's another thing. Look at role-playing games. While there are modern games and fantasy games, science fiction games, fantasy rules everything. Fantasy really is the powerhouse. And I've never quite understood why there hasn't been I know why, but there isn't a great modern game. And it goes down to, like, what part of modern you're going to do. You're going to do, you know, military, you're going to do urban crime, you're going to do paranormal, and there's so many different genres to pick out of, like, modern. It's difficult to get, like, I think something successful. Look, I've always said it. I think I said it on this podcast too. If I could, I would bring back Top Secret in a second. God knows, I love Top Secret. Always have, always will. And to me, it's like there's tons of comic books out there that could be easily converted to a Top Secret kind of world. What is this thing called? Queen and Country. That could easily be converted. Velvet. Yep, that can be easily converted. It's funny. Well, come on. Okay. All right. First, Hickman. I think Hickman's probably one of the smartest writers I've seen in a long time. Ben, I tell you truthfully, I get the feeling sometimes I'm not smart enough to read his work. That sounds funny. People are laughing, but it's true. I get that feeling. Some of the stuff he writes, I'm like, this is way over my head, and I'm missing stuff. You know how you just feel like, oh, I'm missing something. This is not working out for me. Ellis, of course. Ellis. Remender? Remender's okay. More is more, so whatever. That, WD guy. WD. Oh, and Millar has always been garbage. I've always said that from day one. I think he's all about pushing buttons and getting everybody excited, and, like, he's the best. for people who think I'm a good hype guy, please, Mark Millar is the hype guy I'd love to be. That guy is an absolute just... I mean, everything he does, he is the best carnival barker ever done, and he does it great. And some of the stuff he does is absolute garbage. I mean, not even kidding anybody, absolute garbage. But he hypes it like it's the greatest thing ever, and people follow him. And I can't get mad at him for that, because that's what a good marketer is supposed to do. Talk about his product, get people excited, boom. Manhattan Projects, I saw a little bit of it. I mean, like I said, once again, I don't think I was smart enough to get it. I mean, I read Hickman's Shield, which is still, I think, a fascinating series. Just like, wow, that's really interesting. There's some great stuff you could do. I wish they would have done a Nathaniel Richards and, I can't remember, what's Tony's father's name? Howard Stark, actual book. I think that could be so awesome. You know, 40s, 50 areas of technology, spy stuff. I mean, oh my God, you can go crazy with that all day long. Like I said, I think Hickman has got some really good chops. Where I think Hickman fell down, completely fell down, was on his run in Avengers. Oh, I thought that was a mess. I mean, you know, it didn't make sense to me being a fan of... Look, I'm a long-term Avengers fan. We're talking 30 plus years. I read books off the shelf. You know, look, I tell everybody, I bought the Michael Korvac saga off the shelves as a kid. That's how long I've been. And it's like, man, I think he kind of understood what the Avengers were. I don't think he actually really understood what they were. And this goes back, and I think this is also probably some stuff upstairs with them telling him, well, we need this character in this book to make it promote for this thing. And because, you know, at its core, the Avengers are not the Justice League of America. They're not the same group. They're not supposed to be the same group. They're supposed to be totally, totally different groups. And the problem is that people, they flipped them. The JLA is still the JLA. I mean, let's just be honest. JLA has a horrible group of villains, and their villains always suck and always will suck, so they don't have a good choice of villains. But the Avengers have awesome villains, but they've dumped everybody and their mother on that book. I mean, well, on the books, plural now. It's like, holy cow, man. How many more people can you shove in the Avengers book? It's just, come on, it's ridiculous. But, I'm telling you. Talk about getting stressed out. Just, come on. Yeah, Ellis's Secret Avengers run was great. I'd like to see more stuff like that. I think, like I said, small runs for Ellis. 4 issues, boom, 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 in, out, done. He can do something else. But yeah, anything long term for Ellis on Avengers, I wouldn't want to see that. I think it'd be a nightmare. But quality stuff. So, like I said, I wish that some of the ideas that we could steal from comics would definitely come in. I mean, definitely multi-genre stuff, crossing over with companies. I mean, you don't really see a lot of that. I mean, we all make, let's just be honest, I'll just say this for Pathfinder. This is usually Pathfinder. Pathfinder stuff is interesting. And we all could easily do crossovers with each other, but we don't. You know, we don't sit down and go, you know what? You've got some people who like certain things. I got some people. Let's team up and do products together. That's what for me, that's what I did with, what's that guy's name? James Carr Press for our Psionics. You know, we basically found their stuff. We thought it worked and it was better than us trying to do it from scratch. So that's what we did. You know, and there needs to be more of that. There needs to be more of that kind of team up and that kind of thing. You don't see much. And even in Adventures, I keep going back to the closest thing I've ever saw to that was with Paradigm Concepts and Green Ronin. They did books that were basically, you know, interlink. OGL interlink was what it was called. And, you know, one person would do one side of a book like dwarves, and the other person would do giants. One person would do elves, the other one would do orcs. It was that kind of back and forth. And it was a great idea, and I think it needs to be more of that. I think too many of us are sitting in closets all by ourselves. Well, maybe not closets, but, you know, small offices the size of closets. Just working really hard and always wondering, why can't I get more people to read my stuff? Why can't I get more people to see what I'm doing? Why can't I get more people to do X, Y, Z? And it's very much of, we got to team up better. We got to really think about who we can team up with, how we can team up with them, what cool things we can do with them, how we can add to each other instead of figuring about, you know, I got this thing, this is better than that. So, you know, it's a lot of work in parts, but it's not impossible. You know, even with this whole living campaign thing I'm doing, I'm trying to find ways that we as a group work together to make more money. And I mean, look, this is a business. Yeah, it's a fun business, but it's still a business. I pay people. People get, they earn money when they work with me. If they don't get what they want, hey, they don't get paid. People get upset, and that's the way it goes. So that's it. I think you just gotta focus on that kind of thing. Let me answer Ben's question. Moon Knight, yeah, Warren Ellis did a run on Moon Knight that should have been great, but yeah, it was something. Great wasn't the word. Oh, here's one of my favorite people in the world right here. Favorite daddy. That's what a new father looks like. Oh, yeah. That's what a new father looks like. Working hard. Good father right there. New father, like maybe I think not even 3 weeks old. That's how. So he looks fresh now. You see him in a couple months, he's gonna be crying. I'm evil like that. But yeah, I think teaming up is what we need to do. I think better comic books is what we need to do. And I'm gonna go back and say my other argument, as always, comic books need to be cheaper. We need to get off this high gloss paper that's shiny, that's way too expensive, to the next building. Yeah, the next building over. Same question I get every day. Where is the license? It's amazing that we can't find it, but this is amazing. But yeah, I think we got to just do more. Did I say more? More. That's what I'm saying. It's such a good time to do more. This is the awesome time for us to be creative, do stuff, put on the Wi-Fi office, because I know there's always a problem. No, Ben should be. Okay, here's the problem with the $3 books. This is going to be another one of these arguments I've had a million times. If you're free and you want to buy comic books for your kids, you're not going to spend $10 on 3 comic books. It's just mentally not going to happen. No mother's going to do that. It's a horrible idea. It just won't work. Now, if you can find a way to get, 2 books down to $5, $2.50 a book, I think you'll get parents buying again. Because parents won't. You put a $5 bill, it's not a big deal. You put a 10, you start thinking. It's like, $10. How many books am I getting for $10? And you do that face. You do that parent face. It's like, what am I doing? What am I going on? What's going on here? So yeah, people are always, it's something that's important, but you gotta get that price down. Gotta find a way to get the price down. Gotta sell more copies. Gotta find different ways to sell it. Gotta put it in different stuff. Yeah.